Hey guys, it's Becky with Design Bundles, and I am here today. We are going to talk all about using your Crosscutter for your Silhouette Cameo 4. Now, as a bonus, we're also going to talk about cutting vinyl without a mat. So it's really great because you get like a little twofer in this video. We're going to cover both topics at the same time. So grab your Cameo 4, grab some vinyl, and let's get started.
Okay, so what we are going to cut today is just this simple little design. If you're wondering, this is a script font that has the extra glyph for the heart and the right hand side for the E. Okay, so I'll post a link to that font down below, so make sure you check it out. It's just a really neat font and I like it a lot. But basically I have this size to be almost 11 inches wide. And because we're going to be cutting without a mat, you want to check this anyway, but it's especially important when you're cutting without a mat. You have your machine, which is Cameo. Cutting mat needs to be switched to none. Okay, so instead of a 12 by 12 cutting mat or 12 by 24, you just want to switch it to none. And then of course your media size, in this case we're using a 12 by 12. So now I will hit the send panel. Well, you know what, let's talk about one other thing. I need to have my cut border turned on. You can tell by cutting without a mat, you see how I lose just a little bit on each edge and then probably about an inch down here at the bottom. So definitely make sure you keep your cut border on if you're used to cutting with a mat. That way you can be more aware that your design will fit on your cutting area without any problems. So we'll click over to send, and there is one thing that you need to switch. Down here on the bottom right hand side is a little gear. And we want to switch from return to origin. Now this is under feed options. Return to origin, and we're going to switch that to feed. Now it does tell you that the machine will feed the media by the specified length after the completion of the cut job. All right, so we'll just go ahead and increase this a little bit. Let's see, let's do it. Oh, I went too far. Can we do ½ inch? There we go. So we will leave that at ½ inch, and let's go ahead and jump over to our Cameo and we can take a look at what it's like to feed the vinyl into the Silhouette Cameo without a mat, and then also talk about that Crosscutter option, which is what we modified that setting for. Oops, before I forget, let's go ahead and change our material. Now I'm cutting just on regular adhesive vinyl, and I want to switch to vinyl glossy. We are going to leave it on cut, and I did switch out my Cameo 4 blade to the ratchet blade, but if you have the auto blade, make sure you have the auto blade selected on your machine. So I'm going to switch to ratchet. Now let's jump over there and see what everything looks like.
Okay, so this is our gorgeous Cameo 4. Now the first thing that I want to show you is on the back side, so I'm going to turn it around for you. Okay, so this right here is our Crosscutter. And the first thing you need to do if you plan on using it is you see these little tabs right here. You need to gently pull those out and it will release the Crosscutter function. Because this is your blade right here and you need it to be able to move. If you keep it locked like this, your blade is locked into place, okay? So we are going to put that down, and basically, just to give you a preview, your vinyl will eject out here, and then you will be able to move your Crosscutter blade back and forth to give you that straight line. So let's turn it back around. Okay, back to the starting point. There we go. We're going to go ahead and lift the lid. And this is the gorgeous vinyl I'm going to use today. I know I said I was cutting a 12 by 12. This actually isn't quite 12 by 12. This is a scrap piece that I have, but it is 12 inches wide. Now I want you to take a look at what I'm doing here. You'll notice that my rollers on each side do not line up with my vinyl. Now let me tell you why. Because the Cameo, you have to move the roller to the inside. Now I will say this, the Cameo 4 is by far the easiest move roller that I have stumbled across on any of the Cameos. So what I'm going to do is release this right here. This is just a little lever, release the bar. I'm going to press in on the lock and just slide my roller over 1. Now once I get there, it locks back into place, it doesn't move, and I can lock my bar back down. So that is the beginning of cutting without a mat. Now, whenever I line up my vinyl, I want to make sure this side lines up with this roller and this side lines up with this roller. And if you're working with a slightly curved vinyl like I am, you want to just make sure that it's as flat and that it's actually pushed underneath these rollers. Then hit load. Now let me tell you a secret. If you're cutting without a mat, especially if it's a long piece, what I always do is go ahead and feed my vinyl through. And that will tell me, I can then look at my rollers, and that'll tell me if my rollers will stay attached to my vinyl. Now it does, okay, because you can tell I can give my vinyl a pull on each side, it's not coming back out. But that way, if your vinyl is loaded at an angle or just not lined up correctly, if you feed it through, then your vinyl could potentially come out from underneath the roller. So that's kind of why you want to do that as a little test. Okay, now with our vinyl in place, I'm going to run back over to my computer and hit send on our project. But I'm going to adjust my blade first. If you're using an auto blade, you shouldn't have to do this, but I am not using an auto blade. I'm old school. I'm going to use my ratchet blade. Okay, so I have it at a 2. I'm sorry, I'm lying. I have it at a 1. Slide it all the way in. Now remember my trick. I put one finger underneath the pull-out tab and just give it a push with my thumb here. Make sure it's all the way down, and then lock it back into place. Okay, so I will be right back. I'm gonna go ahead and send that file and we can watch it cut. As a matter of fact, I'm going to turn it sideways. That way you guys can see when that feed option kicks in, you can see it come out the other side. There we go. All right, be right back, guys. Okay, now that this completed its cut, I can lock the crosscutter down here, and I will be able to use my crosscutter blade, and it should cut right across my design. So I'm nervous, guys. It does not look like it ejected far enough down. So I'm gonna give it a little nudge. Okay, so with that nudge, I'm then going to slide this right across, and it cut my vinyl decal off. Now I can unload the rest of my vinyl. Okay, and let's check our cut, because I know for you guys, a lot of you guys, this would be your first cut without a mat. So I just use the regular glossy settings. And there we go. So I need to weed out a few parts on the inside, but other than that, I got a really good cut. I'm really happy with it. And if you have known me for any length of time, I do enjoy cutting without a mat. So, you know, I'm just really happy with how this project turned out. Dun, 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 dun. So, what did you think about cutting without a mat? And the cross cutter, don't forget the cross cutter. So the cross cutter is obviously a very, very awesome tool, especially when it saves you the extra step of having to trim your vinyl sheet yourself. Plus you get that straight cut, you get a straight edge. So especially if you're cutting off of a roll, that means that you have a straight edge and you can just feed it in, just like you did this time, and continue to use that cross cutter. And you don't have to worry about trimming up your vinyl rolls anymore. So I really like it. It's a fun, neat accessory to the Cameo 4. And of course, you know, I'm a fan of cutting without the mat, so they just really go hand in hand. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you leave them below. I love to hear from you guys. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the channel because we always have a lot of fun tutorials planned for you right around the corner. I appreciate you guys watching, and we will see you next time.